the librarian at Gibraltar Carlson High School. I'm also a 93 grad. Before we start the festivities and letting the true stars of the evening come up and accept their awards and give their speeches, I just want to give a little background as to how the Hall of Fame sort of came together. Back when I was in the classroom teaching language arts, I'd sometimes get a little discouraged when students in the school would put down their quote-unquote education or what can be done at Carlson High School. And I knew from my own family, both myself and my two younger sisters, who both went on to a four-year university and advanced degrees and succeeded in their personal lives, and my wife, who's a Carlson alum, and her two sisters that have gone on to do wonderful things, and both, again, advanced degrees, and one is a medical doctor. Not to mention many friends of mine, and not to mention many teachers that I had that I went back to work with, that I knew were also Carlson grads. So I knew there were many people that walked through the halls as students, as employees, as athletes that went on to do amazing things, and it seemed like nobody really knew. Nobody knew. So I sat with Mr. Stevenson and I said, this is something that we had to do. We had to let people know that with hard work and dedication, the base that we have there at Oscar Carlson, people can go on and do whatever they want to dream to do. And we have Olympic gold medal winners. We have outstanding coaches and teachers and business people and people that are working for state political parties, people working for Rose Bowl championship football programs, just amazing alumni, and including five tonight, but one being honored as an employee by a great Marauders this evening. So how about a big hand for everyone. Our first honoree this evening, before I introduce the honorees, each honoree will be receiving a plaque tonight, as well as a certificate from our newly elected senator for the Gibraltar School District, or for part of the Gibraltar School District. Senator Coleman Young II has certificates here for each of the honorees. We will be honoring with a plaque, and as well, they have all had a photograph taken there in the Hall of Fame in the high school. There is a photo plaque that everyone has that everyone can see when they walk in the building. So if you come to the game tomorrow, check it out. This year's class will be up sometime later this year or early next year. We'll post photos of that as well. So, our first honoree is already a member of the Hall of Fame, thanks to his accomplishments on the 1977 state championship baseball team. But tonight, he's been inducted as an individual alumnus. Mr. David Albright, the 1979 graduate. After attending Carlson High School, he went on to Bowling Green State University and then earned a master's at Purdue University. He's currently the vice president at AT&T, responsible for voice business, supporting consumers and businesses. He's also a visiting professor at the NYU Graduate School of Business. He's a very charitable individual, currently on the board of directors for the United Way of Northern New Jersey. Mr. Richardson in the baseball program here at Carlson High School is very fortunate, and he always gives back to Carlson High School's baseball program as well. Very generous and very giving individual. Traveling back to Gibraltar with you tonight to accept his award from New Jersey, and we have many of them traveling, and we appreciate that. How about a big round of applause for Mr. David Albright.
Good evening. Sorry, I have to get my glasses out. 79 was a long time ago. I was telling Peter this is going to be the hardest part. First, let me say when I learned of this recognition, I was truly honored and deeply humbled. Knowing the teams and the individuals that were entered in here before really makes this something special. I would like to thank Superintendent Berger and the Board of Education, Carlson High School Principal Stevenson, Hall of Fame Nominating Committee, including the Chairman Mike Fiotti, Athletic Director Mike Quinn, and certainly my longtime best friend Tracy Richardson. Thank you guys for your support. So I'd also like to thank a few others, all the teachers and the administrators from 1975 through 1979. While they taught me the standard reading, writing, arithmetic, although I think Mr. Rutkowski might argue the writing piece of that, they taught me a lot of other things that I really didn't grasp until later in life. Probably the biggest thing was determination. Tommy Lasorda said determination is the difference between the impossible and the possible. And when I mentor a lot of the kids from inner city Newark, it's probably the main quality that I preach to them. Don't give up. If life throws you a roadblock, you got to find another way around it. And I've lived my life that way. Kindness. They taught me a lot of kindness. I think the more you put into that, the more you get out of it. Patience. Some would say, my family specifically, I've been losing that as I've gotten older. But I can tell you, I would not have accomplished what I did in business without it. And finally, the concept of paying it forward. One of the things I really try to do, whether it's in coaching or in business and mentoring, we bring a lot of interns into our programs at AT&T. I think it's important to teach them, give them a little bit of what life is like. It's not just books. It's a good way to start, but getting out there and doing it in the real world and what it really means is really important. The next group to my coaches, one of which is here, Ladgen is Baker, Schroeder, and Mr. Lefebvre. While you taught me how to defend, shoot, throw, and bat, there were a number of skills that stretch beyond the court or the field. Traits that I've tried to incorporate in my life, whether raising my children, coaching youth sports, mentoring inner city children, or in the corporate world leading AT&T. First is collaboration and teamwork. Life is not an individual sport. Knowing when to pass and when to shoot is very important. It's okay to make a mistake. Learn from it and move on. Leadership is best shown by example. You've got to walk that talk. And perseverance and confidence, always striving to improve. To this day, I still replay in my head an exchange I had with Coach Lefebvre. It really wasn't an exchange, it was a one-way. Where he was really pushing me out of my comfort zone to move to a higher level baseball team in the summer, and I was fighting it. As usual, he was right. And not only did he help my ability and confidence, but I use a lot of the similar tactics today when I coach some of the kids that have really good potential, whether it's basketball or baseball. And fairness. Fairness is so important. It's great when you see displays of sportsmanship on the field. I think what's sad is that they get called out because they don't happen enough. And that needs to happen more. And finally, I'd like to thank my family. My wife, Carol, for 31 years, she's put up with my weekend warrior injuries. In my mind, I still think I'm a college athlete, and sometimes I act accordingly. At times, it's hard to accept. I can't dunk a basketball like I used to, but we all move on. And Tracy can attest, my obsession with golf just keeps on going. So, I'd like to thank my children, my daughters, Dr. Sarah Albright Alfano and Taylor, my son Mark. All three endured me not only as their father, but as their coach, and I'm not sure which was worse. Two of the three inherited my love for sports and went on to play Division I college lacrosse and swimming. And they certainly, well, they still do, put up with my stories of my glory days. And then finally, my parents, Des and Jerry, for instilling a strong understanding of faith and kindness, for never missing one of my games, and always offering words of support and encouragement. Thank you all again for this honor. Go Marauders.
Our next honoree, Mr. James Michael McCabe, is a 1968 alumnus. After graduating from Gibraltar Carlson High School, he obtained a Bachelor's of Arts from Georgetown College in Kentucky, as well as a Master's degree from Western Michigan University. He then went on to a long career in coaching and education, including serving currently as the head football coach, offensive coordinator at Alfred State College. He's currently a member of the National Junior College Athletic Association Hall of Fame. He obtained the highest honor a citizen can award in the state of Kentucky, being named a Kentucky Colonel by then Governor Julian Carroll. He spent 40 years in education and coaching. While at Carlson, he was a starter, including on the first ever varsity football win in '65, a 38-0 shutout win over New Boston Huron. One of our teachers. one of our teachers that's a Huron gal, she was proofreading my little info here, and she goes, "What's new? Everybody needs Huron." But they did have a pretty good year this year. How about a big round of applause for our next inductee, Mr. Nick Cava. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm ecstatic to be here tonight. I want to thank Mr. Michael Mahoney and the Hall of Fame Committee who expressed their confidence in me, as I know there are a lot of deserving Carlson graduates who are a lot more deserving than I am for this award. But I want to assure the committee that there's no one that's more appreciative of this award than I am. I'm extremely grateful. Being gone almost 50 years, it's an award that you never expect to occur. To my fellow inductees tonight, I am honored to be included in the 2015 Hall of Fame class with you, and I congratulate each one of you. Carlson Hall of Fame, an impressive list of great people with amazing accomplishments. I've checked the list, and they all came from my high school. And now I'm humbled to be included in that list. If you're a member of the Hall of Fame and you're here tonight, I am honored that you joined us and include me in your company. I'm going to change a little bit, maybe take a little bit more time. It's been 50 years getting here. But in September 1962, I've got friends here that were here with me on that day. And I appreciate you guys being here, all of you. September 1962, when we walked through the doors, that was the first day that the doors of Oscar A. Carlson Junior Senior Highs were ever opened. So tonight, in many ways, I represent all of the students from the 1960s who came through those doors. We realistically established all the firsts for Carlson High School. When we walked through the doors, I saw the emblem down here in front. When we walked through those doors and put on the uniforms for the first time, and I remember putting on a baseball sweatshirt to play baseball on that first team, that was our logo. We were the Mariners. We were not the Marauders. Being the children of the 60s, imagine that, we wanted a change. And we had a school vote. And the students changed it to the Marauders. And that's where we became the Marauders. We had the first homecoming in 1966 for our 1966 graduates. We had the first home football game in 1967 where the field stands today. So we played in that very first game on that field. And I was excited to be part of that. So was Steve Boltner and a lot of my friends that were on that team. We were sitting in class when the announcement came over the PA system that President John F. Kennedy had been shot. And we know where we were sitting in the classrooms on that day. A memory you'll never forget. I already heard the word, the ebb tide, getting your name in the yearbook. We started the first ebb tide yearbook. The school fight song. We were proud of our new school. We were proud to be Marauders. But on that first day, when I walked through the school, through those doors into the school, and the lessons that I would learn, and the people that I would meet those next 6 years, the foundation that would be laid for a storybook career, it was unfathomable to a 7th grader of the things that was going to occur and lay the foundation for what was going to happen in my lifetime. My Carlson story almost ended before it began. As 9th graders, you all know we've got guidance counselors in here. You meet with the guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor asks what you want to do. As a 9th grader, I said, I want to play football, and I want to go to college. Which my guidance counselor told me, that's not such a good plan. First, you're not a good student, which I wasn't. Second, no one in your family's ever went to college. And third, your dad's a carpenter. So he signed me up for industrial arts, not college prep. And I went home, told my mom I don't think I want to go back to Carlson. So the next morning she called my guidance counselor. She said, sign my boy up for college prep. I can remember this like it was yesterday when I started thinking about it. She said, when he fails, he fails. And then she looked at me and said, you will not fail. And if you knew my mother, it was more colorful and it was more forceful. And then she sent me to school. Well, I never got an A. I had access to my transcript. I looked it up and I never had an A. But I worked hard academically. I played football with these guys here in a very ferocious passion that I have. And as they say, the rest is history. Summer before my senior year, started getting worried about what was going to happen. I walked down those summer nights to the end of Horse Island where Mrs. Shumate lived and sat down on her break wall and watched the lake freighters go out on the lake, out into the night. And I thought about what my future was. I asked God where He's going to take me, what His plan was for me. Little did I know, He had a great journey planned for me. Spending Saturday afternoons on a college football field, or Fridays in high schools under the Friday night lights. From the rocky coast of Maine to the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, from northern Minnesota to the scorching heat of South Texas, from the eastern Kentucky mountains to right here at Erie Mason High School in Monroe County. Football games in cities like New York City, Chicago, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Bangor, Maine, and even Bangor, Michigan. What an unbelievable journey. It all started right at Carlson High School. But God knew I needed something to complete me, because He knew I wasn't a very confident individual. I could play football, but the rest of it I wasn't very strong at. I needed somebody to make me strong, to make His plan successful. Little did I know, that person was a cute little blonde majorette. She was in the halls of Carlson High School. And I reluctantly fell in love with her. That's my wife, Linda. Stand up. And I want for the record to know that she asked me out on our first date. So you might say for almost 50 years, I am still living my teenage dream. I spend Saturday afternoons on a college football field. I still date my teenage crush. Doesn't get any better than that, unless you consider I got to coach both of our kids. And my son's been on my staff as our defensive coordinator for 13 years, so I get to go to work with him every day. There are great sacrifices in college football families. Our family's been no exception. Linda has made our family feel like there was never a sacrifice. She never complained about always being the family disciplinarian. I was always the cool guy in the family. I want the public